What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single weekday, coming at you live from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a packed show today. We have Frankie Candles joining us in about 25 minutes. We're going to go over some XRP, some Cardano, some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, and some other altcoins as well. The markets are crashing. Why? We'll get some insight on that. We're also talking about Hong Kong. Trezor apparently now is hackable, and much, much more. Also, are Bitcoin NFTs going to supplant Ethereum NFTs? Is Bitcoin the only cryptocurrency we need? We're going to discuss that and much, much more. But first, here is Farmer 10, Robin.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take that old, boring, and stale information and repackage it up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin, it's down, but not your boy. You look good. I'm up, baby.
You know what is down, but not down with the markets, but down with this channel. It's channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Tech. Today's show is brought to you by them. Tomorrow's show will also be brought to you by them. Cam's Blue Wire Tech provides your business with scalable IT solutions so you can focus on new revenue streams for your business. If you want more information, visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. So, if you hear from the Candle Mafia, put a candle in the chat. Curious. Also, so Rob, we're in mainstream now, bro. We're mainstream. I got this video from Squawkbox, CNBC. Dude Joe over here talking about how Bitcoin is now a mainstream asset. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, I don't mind that nearly as much as crypto. And this is definitely the issue that has him fired up.
Well, he's a smart guy, obviously. But there are some really smart people that could give you a really good case.
Yeah.
I don't think he could give you a good case because he has no idea how it works.
Not sure he's read the white paper on any of it.
I don't think he knows.
But
I don't think the first page of the Bitcoin Standard or whatever book you want to go to, I don't think he's read the first page. And I mean, that's the most pedestrian viewpoint that I've heard from people for 20 years. They all say the same thing. None of them know anything about it, but they say, that's fine. He's smart.
I think
Other
he's
people are
seen
smart.
stuff before, and this reminds him of patterns. That
Right,
he's seen in the
exactly.
past. That's kind of what his concerns are.
You know, what did he and Warren think of tech? How long did they?
Oh no, they say, but they will
kicking
say,
and screaming into the new world.
Yeah, but they will.
The
say,
internet, all those things.
They will say they're not tech investors. That they're not.
Oh, no. Well, then.
And by the way, when they bought it,
then don't opine on things you have no idea about.
But I think they look at some of these deals, particularly the coins that are just made up.
Okay, well, you're not talking about Bitcoin in that regard. But there's some very smart guys that are maybe a little more tech savvy that, I can give you a list of them, but from Drucker Miller to...
So they're discussing about, our good old friend Charlie Munger. But I want to ask you, okay, do you consider Bitcoin and crypto two separate things? Because that's what it seems like mainstream media is kind of the path they're taking here.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. It's in the same category. I mean, do you consider oil and energy to be the like say electricity? Like two commodities. You got oil and electricity. They're both commodities. They both power our lives, the globe, but one is more tangible. It's physical. The other one is it exists in real world, but at the end of the day, it's not like physical. You can't hold it. So I don't know. I think they're different. They're in the same category. Same way I would liken.
Can crypto exist without Bitcoin?
What?
If they're two separate things, can one exist without the other?
Why are we doing these hypotheticals that make no sense? They're both here. They're both not going anywhere. You got a different argument?
Let's move on to Coinbase. They put out this new video. Money has come a long way. So we talked about this yesterday. Coinbase is planning on doing this marketing. I want to call it a blitz, right? They're going mainstream. They're going on TV, Sunday night, prime time, 4 different weeks. And this is just little snippets they're throwing out there. And so we're going to show you what snippets. So it says, money has come a long way since goats and teeth. And it still has a long way to go. Thankfully, crypto helps move money forward. And let's check this video. What are your thoughts on this? You like this?
It is interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. I like it. Play one more time.
You want to play the whole thing one more time?
No. Just what was after the goat?
You had the goat, then you had the cow, then you had looks like grains and minerals and chickens and gold. Yeah, it's just pretty much showing the evolution. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that Larry David video, that the promotion they did.
The one where he said FTX is a scam and just early trolled everybody, right? I mean, if that ain't the greatest troll ever, I mean, on a side note here, right? He said, hey, this FTX thing, it's a scam. I don't trust it. That's literally what he said. And then what happened 6 months later?
It was supposed to be sarcasm, but
it was not sarcasm. That shit was alpha. That was alpha.
Yeah. You know what else is alpha?
You know, here's the thing. Like, do you think it's possible? I think it's highly, highly unlikely, but do you think it's possible that Larry David and his team and the guys that put together that commercial were like, man, this FTX thing is so full of fraud. They're like, what if we do a commercial calling it a fraud?
There's no way.
No. Okay.
For a guy who doesn't like theories, you sure as hell. There's no way. There's no way. You had a lot. These people with all this money, you got to figure they got people to vet these projects. But then again, you look at Tom Brady, some of the biggest names out there. The guy put his entire family wealth into FTX, and surprised he was able to still retire. Interesting.
He didn't put his entire wealth in there. He
$600
lost
million.
He lost some money.
$600 million.
Is that how much he lost?
That's a lot of money.
No, he didn't lose that much.
I'm pretty sure that was his stake in FTX.
No. There's no way.
Okay. You look at that. I'll look at this. So this is a tweet from Charlie Bolello.
He had 1.7 million shares in FTX, which, I mean, I guess if you were to take
$40,
he had, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much shares that is, but
I don't know.
His shares were once worth 45 million.
I just remember that there was an article we talked about when FTX went under, and it was the number I saw was 600 million. So. Anyways,
no, he only gets paid like what is it, 30 million a year at the height? I think it's 34 million was his highest. So there's no way he took 20 years of his salary, and
I don't know. We'll see. But he's retired and FTX is no longer here. But there is FTX 2.0 coming out, apparently. So they want to fire it back up. John J. Ray has come out and said he thinks it'll put the creditors in the best position. He says it'll bring new traders in. A lot of people have said, especially traders, hey, FTX was great. We loved using it. The interface was great. The technology behind it was great. It's just the people there and what they were doing, they ruined it. So does it deserve a second chance? Would you give it a second chance? I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like the problem wasn't the platform. The problem was one or two people. That's kind of my thing. But then again, some things are better left dead.
Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
FTX
Overall?
2.0?
No, there's money supply here.
Oh, yeah. What I have on
chart.
the screen. Okay, so I was going to ask you about this. So this is from Charlie Bilello. The U.S. money supply has fallen 4.6% over the last 12 months, the largest year-over-year decline on record.
So it's the largest decline on record. However, it is preceding the unimaginably just crazy amount of printing they did, right? Mm-hmm. Never saw as much money being printed in a 2-year window with the pandemic relief, the PPE, the money dropping, or the checks that they delivered directly to people, the quantitative easing, and the list goes on and on. And so there is a direct correlation on the rate that we're printing. And if we go backwards or negative and we start having a we're trying to create a deflationary environment by almost reducing the amount of money that it's in circulation. Remember, this also tracks not just, M2 doesn't just track how much money is flowing around, but also tracks savings accounts, checking accounts, money. Anyways, historically, not good. Not good at all.
Well, here's the thing, too much of one thing is bad, right? You get an increase in the money supply too fast, it's bad. You get a decrease in the money supply too fast, that's also bad, right? You got to think these businesses who continue to raise money and get loans from banks to pay payroll, to upgrade, to move forward for marketing, whatever the case may be, those are starting to dwindle, those opportunities. And that's for, let's just say, businesses. What about individuals? What about someone who's looking to buy a home or a new car because their car just went under and they don't have 10 grand to go spend on a used car? They have to finance. They're going to be more stringent on those applications. So you're siphoning money out of the economy at a time where inflation is still high. I know the numbers say the inflation is going down, but I'm still spending more money on gas. I'm still spending more money on groceries. I'm in a very lucky position where I don't have to go out and find a second job or whatever the case may be, but there are some people who might not be that lucky, right? And so,
I mean, with the, to address the inflation, remember, this is a year over year. And so unless it goes negative, everything is still getting more expensive. Simple as that. Now, you might have a situation where the price of gas have come down. That has gone negative from the height it was last year, but we're still spending more money than we did last year by a factor of 4%. And then if you were to take last year and, well, the year before that was 9%. So now we're having compounding inflation. You have 9% the year before, now followed up by a 4.9%, basically a 5%. And there's no let up in sight. And that M2 money supply, that's an indicator of a recession. If you gave it to a macroeconomist, he just simply said, "Hey, what generally follows a pattern like this when it comes to the movement of money?" That's essentially what it is. It's a movement of money. You slow down borrowing, you slow down checking accounts, you slow down spending. Well, if there's less spending, companies close the doors, right? And that's usually a sign of recession. And so if we're in an environment right now where, hey, everything's expensive and we're about to go into a recession, man, times are about to get tough. If we do go into a recession, which, that is one metric. Yeah.
Are we there? It's just how much deeper are we going?
Yeah. We are in a recession.
What's not in a recession is Bitcoin.
UK? Oh.
Bitcoin. What? I got what?
The UK?
Oh, I was going to talk about Bitcoin NFTs. Are they going to supplant? Now, here's an intrigue. So let's go over the article here real quick. So this is from dailycoin.com. Bitcoin threatens Ethereum as it claims the second spot in NFT sales. Ethereum has dominated the NFT space for years. No one has been able to come close, with the exception of maybe Solana at one point, but it was never over a long period of time. It was always over 7 days, 30 days, 3 months. Bitcoin, the reigning king of cryptocurrencies, has swiftly ascended the charts in just a few months, emerging as a genuine threat to Ethereum's longstanding supremacy in the NFT marketplace. Bitcoin NFTs have taken the industry by storm. And we know this because, when Rob came back, his first thing he said to me was, Bitcoin ordinals and inscriptions are here to stay, and that includes NFTs. Emerging as a genuine threat to us. Oh, I already read that. Bitcoin NFTs have taken the industry by storm, propelling the network to secure the second spot for NFT sales per blockchain in the last 30 days. This is according to CryptoSlam.io. Bitcoin NFTs amassed an astounding $170 million in sales in just the month of May, while Ethereum reigns supreme with $390 million in the same period. Bitcoin has outperformed competitors such as Solana and Cardano, boasting nearly 3 times larger sales. Cardano reported $7 million and Solana reported $56 million. And we have this from CryptoSlam. The number one collection ranking by sales volume is on Bitcoin, BitAmigos. We had the Nakamigos as well. That was on Bitcoin. You can see here blockchain by NFT sales volume. Over the last 24 hours, Bitcoin coming in at number 2 with $3.5 million. So I want to ask you, and then we also have this too. I'll show this as well. So this is 30-day NFT sales. You can see Ethereum leading the way. As we mentioned, Bitcoin 170 million, Solana, Mycos, Polygon, Immutable, BNB, Cardano. And so kind of, man, flow is fell from its high horse here. I'm gonna have to do a little more digging into this mother sucker. I got some bags in flow. I need to make sure I don't need to move that out of there. Who knows?
Was Flow ever really known for NFTs?
I mean, that's literally all they're known for. Web3 NFTs.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like,
but they have
were they known to be like, hey, they're like going to
it's
be
not
a
like,
player.
hey, Sin City Crypto is launching an NFT project, we're launching on Flow. It wasn't like that. It was more the mainstream, larger companies like NFL, NBA, those kind. But I forget who it was. It was an analyst, or it was Sandeep from Polygon, the founder, said, we believe that there's only going to be one chain, and we really need only one chain to kind of do everything. Now that Bitcoin essentially is a smart contract platform, do we need all these other? I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but can you make a case for, if Bitcoin can do everything Ethereum's doing, and it is what it is already, do we need all these other blockchains?
I would say easily yes, although I could see an environment where Bitcoin ends up being the successful chain, but that would be reliant on, say, a comparable product to the Lightning Network that focuses on NFTs and marketplaces. And until... But even then, it's not as efficient, but it's more secure, right? That's the
Secure,
shining,
decentralized.
yeah. That's the shining use case for Bitcoin is that, hey, it's
Can you also say
time tested and the most secure network.
But can you also say that is the most, as far as regulation goes, regulatory concerns, it is the safest?
Yeah, I think it's even the SEC doesn't push back. You haven't heard Gary Gensler hinting that Bitcoin is a security, right? Mm. He's done that with Ethereum, and he hasn't really done that with Bitcoin. And so I think it's just general consensus from Congress, from the SEC, from the CFTC, and it's a commodity, right? And so for that reason, it's safe from being deemed a security and sued and, threatened to be delisted. We already have a futures ETF. Oh, hey, man. Obviously, at some point, or at least I think obviously there's going to be one point in the future, we're going to have a regular Bitcoin ETF, a spot one, right? Who knows when that's going to happen? But I mean, this environment, it's growing though. But to answer your question, I think that Ethereum will always be the leader in smart contracts. I think there are going to be other smart contracts, but I think that it's going to always have a seat at the table, and it's always going to be the main used chain for smart contracts. And then second, you'll have other chains, and maybe Bitcoin's number 2.
Let me ask you this question, Robin. Let's say Sin City Crypto, we decide to launch an NFT project.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethereum is out of the question.
Why?
Let's just say we're not doing Ethereum.
Okay.
Just hypotheticals here. Is Bitcoin a real option we would consider? I mean, you talk about where's the liquidity? Where's the money flowing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you got to figure other projects, other companies, other people.
I'll say this: I don't know what would be the ideal NFT platform to use, whether it's Solana or Avalanche or Bitcoin. But I will say that I would give it a
once over.
Yeah, I give it a once.
Would you give it a twice over?
A twice over, yeah, of course. Why not?
You know who I want to give a twice over to? And I want to give 2 hellos to friend of the channel, friend of us personally, Mr. Frankie Candles. Let's bring him on. Frankie, what's up, my dude?
Nothing much. I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Just trying to recover from Miami, you know?
Oh, you too, huh? How was your Miami trip, man? What was the highlight?
It was
of your
great,
trip?
man. I mean, hey, listen, hanging out with the creators is, it's funny, we always come on each other's shows. We're always chatting, we're always talking, and, we develop all these relationships. And, I met a lot of these people for the first time in Miami in person. And, it's got to be meeting our fellow YouTube friends because, we support each other so much. We always help each other, have each other on everybody's show and everything. And it's just great to, meet these people in real life. And obviously meeting the Bit Squad and the Candle Mafia, that was really cool too. I remember last year, nobody cared who I was. I had started my channel like 2 months before the conference. And, I was trying to get recognized behind Ben. And I was like, hey, guys, you know me? And nobody cared. So, having a few people recognize me out there was really cool, too. So it was cool to hang out with the community, give out some merch and stuff like that. So
nice, man. We know you're a community first guy. So, but I'm curious. You met Rob in person, right? Apparently, I don't know where he got his nickname from. Big Rob, not so big, right? Pretty short guy.
Hey, you know what? You know what's funny? That's like probably the funniest thing about meeting everybody is like, you have these, you see them on camera, and a lot of people look, a lot different. It's hard to judge height on camera, and everybody that I met was like, man, I thought you were taller. And I was like, geez, I sit down on my stream. So I guess on Ben's show, I stand up. They all think I'm super tall. But they all thought, you know what? I don't really see height. I couldn't tell you if Rob was the same height as me, shorter than me, or taller than me, to be 100% honest with you. But everybody thought I was taller. So,
well, we know definitely you have bigger calves than him. We know that because there's proof out there on the
I will say this, though. In Miami, even though it's nice and humid and hot, you're not allowed to go anywhere with shorts on, or at least be let in anywhere decent. So if you want to go to an after party, you gotta have them legs wrapped up like a sushi burrito.
That's right.
Yeah.
Couldn't show off the calves at the club.
Yeah.
Calf club. Frankie, what a day to have you on, man. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much. We know you're in high demand. You're a busy man. We appreciate you taking some time out. Bless us with your knowledge and your charts.
Dude, I think is Bitcoin still alive? We at 20K.
I don't know, Robin. Let's take a look at the markets.
Hold on, before you get into it, I will say that just a quick glance at the market. I got a couple things to pull up here. So first of all, we're gonna take a look. Bitcoin coming in at 26.2. Quite a big downturn here from 27. We lost $1,000, man, in 24 hours. Had his big leg down, lost 500 here, and then the other 500 on the back end. I have this interesting tweet here. So with Cassius, where's it at? Is it one of these here? Okay. So with Cassius, he went around asking everyone what they thought about some price targets, and so here we're gonna play this. because we got a little bit from you here as well. So let's play.
Yeah, pull back down to 20K first.
I don't think it ever touches
Hold on,
20K
hold on.
again.
Play from the beginning, man. It's only 40 seconds. I want to hear.
All right.
I haven't seen this video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Crown with the shades on. Okay, Bitcoin going to 20K first or 30K?
30. Let's go 30.
All right. 20. Ooh, that's really high. 30K.
I think we're going to see a pull back down to 20K first.
I don't think it ever touches 20K again.
I'm probably gonna see 20,000 first.
Bitcoin going to 20K or 30K first?
30K.
But I think we might hit 20 first.
What's going to happen first? 20 or 30?
30 before 20.
30 before 20.
20K.
30.
Damn,
We've already seen the bottom.
30K. 30K all day, baby.
Let's see. I'm gonna say 30,000. It's not gonna go that low.
20K. So 30K before 20K.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it. Right here. Bitcoin, baby.
Going 30.
30. And what you got on?
So we got
So
20K from you, and then today we got a big red day. So I'm like, kind of interesting. You got some alpha we don't know about here?
Yeah, what's your what's your reason behind thinking it's going to hit 20K first? Do you have maybe walk us through your thought process, or is there some metrics or chart you saw that kind of swayed you in that direction?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I didn't even remember what I said to him. I was curious. I was like, I think I said 20. Actually, to be 100% honest with you, I think I was kind of more answering as in, probably go down and test some lows first. 20K is kind of low in my personal opinion. Like when I have more than 30 seconds to answer the question, it's like 30K or 20K, like definitely down first is what I really meant. And I'm not saying that we can't hit 20K. 20K is a little bit low. The first real target I'm looking at is 25K. But I will show you, if you guys want me to pull up the chart now, I can go ahead and show you kind of.
That works. And Frankie, is 25 and sorry, I just want to ask you real quick, is 25K more of a psychological number for you, or is it just strictly based off of patterns and chart setup that you're seeing?
Yeah, well, I am so happy you asked because I will actually show you right now. So
Frankie,
really,
we're actually,
kind of what I want to talk.
We're actually having some difficulty seeing your screen. We're seeing a black screen. Can you maybe try to refresh it, or?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Let me see here.
While he's doing that, okay. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay, that's live. Hopefully. Okay, perfect. So, just feel free to stop me if it goes black again. But 20K is a really, really, really interesting level, right? So if I come up just to kind of answer that question first, and then I'll kind of give you my general thoughts here. But let me go ahead and pull up this fresh chart. And we do have some interesting levels near 20K, right? So this is actually not where I wanted to pull that from. I want to pull this all the way down here. So we do have some very interesting levels here, right? So if you pull your Fibonacci retracement tool all the way from the bear market bottom, or I will say the current bear market bottom. I am a believer that I do think we did a Twitter Spaces with Garrett Soloway last night, and I think it's much more likely that the bottom is in for this bear market. But I am open-minded. I'm not one of those people that's very tribal, like it's impossible for it to go back down. I'm a trader. I flip-flop back and forth. But as of right now, I do think it is much more likely that the bottom is in, just for anybody who's curious about that. But 20K is a very interesting level for me because really, it's a little bit closer to 21K is our kind of golden pocket retracement level for this entire move to the upside, right? So that is going to be a big, big area of interest. If we do wind up getting a move back down there, I will be looking at that level very strongly. And the bottom of that golden pocket comes in at about 21K. I do believe, let me see real quick. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe we do have a CME gap down there as well. CME gap down there at about 20K. We also have we have two CME gaps near that level, but we kind of did already fill this one with this move to the downside. But we do have this new one here at 20K, and the statistics for these CME gap fills are, it's very, very, very probable that we fill that, at some point. Right now, the question is, are we going to fill it soon, or are we going to fill it, a month from now, a year from now, what have you? But that does make it an interesting area, 20K, being that CME gap as well as the golden pocket retracement level. So if we are going to see a bigger cool off here, which I don't think is impossible, right? Because we are coming up against some absolutely we've come up to 31K. We've tested this absolutely massive, massive level of resistance. If anybody out there that watches my show knows that, I was a pretty big proponent of actually looking for shorts at the very top here, just because this is support throughout the entire bull market. Every time we came down and then we clung on to that level before finally losing it. A lot of people thought this was the bottom. A lot of smart people thought this was the new bottom. But market very, very hard to read, obviously. But then we broke it, right? So this is going to be a very, very huge level of resistance. And if we are going to see a bigger cool off here, and we do get down to these, lower the lower 20,000s, I don't think it's impossible to go touch 20K. But when you're given a hard choice like that, it's hard for me to pick 30K because it's hard to say. But we do have that 20K CME gap. But really, more locally, I kind of want to, I'll kind of give you guys my idea on, what I'm thinking about Bitcoin in the medium term, or just more this local price action here. And on Monday, I was extremely bearish, right? And we had two things popping up on the chart. We had this 2-day green dot printing, which has now since disappeared. And once that green dot was printing on the 2-day, I was expecting a slight move to the upside. And I say slight because, as you could see, even when that green dot was printing, again, it is now gone. But when it was printing, that's a pretty good signal that you're going to get some kind of a bounce, right? But because we have the money flow disagreeing with that green dot coming to the downside, that is basically what was making me, I was talking about it on my live stream. I was saying I am much more interested in looking for that short-term bounce off of the 2-day green dot. And I would be much more interested in shorting a lower high rather than looking for fresh longs at the lows of the range. And another big reason for that is because if I pull up that chart we were just looking at, if I pull up the TA here, we have some pretty bearish stuff popping up here, right? We have a macro head and shoulders formed at that major level of resistance, the head coming in right there at that major level of resistance. You have your left shoulder, head, and your right shoulder. And on top of that, you have your neckline right here. And if you're trading a head and shoulders, I don't typically trade patterns alone. But if I were, what I would do is wait for a breakdown and a bearish retest of that neckline, which we got right here almost perfectly, right? So if you were looking to short a head and shoulders, that was your entry right here, and it would be playing out pretty nicely right now. On top of that, this whole area of consolidation was looking somewhat like a bear flag to me, which is, again, we've been looking at this on my live stream for some time, but two major bearish, patterns here. And then, we got that 2-day green dot to give us a little bit of a push up where I was looking to short a lower high. One of those lower high levels was the range high here of this little local area of consolidation we've been in for the past 2 weeks. And that 2-day green dot gave us that move right up to the highs of the range. And then we got rejected, and now we are coming back down. And I won't lie. Yesterday was a little bit hard to read because we wound up getting a green dot on the daily time frame, and we kind of got this, red dot. This was looking really bearish with the money flow coming out. Then we printed an immediate green dot with money flow coming back up. The market loves to try to confuse you. And then today we finally got that red dot. So yesterday I did feel a little better than I did on Monday, but then this red dot now printing just brings me right back to my sentiment on Monday. And again, looking to short that lower high wound up working out in my favor because we are now obviously breaking the lows of this range. And this level that we broke at 26,750 is a very, very important level of support, because if we cannot get back above that level, it is going to be more probable, in my opinion, to come down to this next blue box that I have on the chart here between about 25.3 and 24.8. And, the last level of defense before I throw it back to you guys is this purple spider line coming in at 25.9. if we lose this spider line, we have a gap in volume, and then it is going to be, very, very likely that there's going to be a quick move down to this blue box, in which case I would be interested in looking for some new long positions. But something to realize here is the measured move, or the technical target of this head and shoulders, brings you right down to about $23,000 even. And this bear flag technical target would be coming up here at the top of the blue box at about 23,640. So first stop, 25.3.
I was gonna say, what exactly is a
Go ahead.
purple spider line? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so spider lines are actually, I believe they were created, I found out about them from CryptoFace, and basically what they are here, I'll just hide some of this stuff so you guys can see it a little better. I can actually show you guys real quickly. They're very, very cool. I did not invent these. I want to be very transparent. I did not create these. Like I said, I think CryptoFace did, but that's at least where I found them from. But basically what these spider lines are, this is a big part of my analysis. I look at these very, very often, and they are some of the strongest levels of support and resistance that I've ever seen, right? And basically all they are they're horizontal rays, right? Or not horizontal rays, they're just rays. Basically, all I do is I go from the tops of these candles on this downtrend, and I connect the rays to the top of this candle, the body of this candle right here. And for whatever reason, TA, this is one of the reasons I love TA. These levels are so well respected. There are many other ones that come up here. I don't have them all turned on, but you could see, we got support on these spider lines, came right up to these, got rejected, perfect support, drop down, perfect support, perfect resistance. And now we are coming down to this one as we speak. So they are very strong levels of resistance, support and resistance, and they're just pulled from back here in the 2018 bear market, essentially. So yeah, they're just super strong levels of support and resistance.
Yeah, and you can see, but just looking at what they've done in the past, and like you said, they've been pretty spot on. Frankie, I want to ask you.
Also, I want to ask the chat as well, because we kind of opened this segment up with the skit where Cassius was asking 20 or 30K. What does the chat think? Where do you guys land on the direction of the market? Do you think we'll go down and test 20K, or do you think that we'll kind of bounce at where we're at now and head up to 30? 1 in the chat for 20, 2 in the chat for 30. Your boy's kind of bullish. I'm still thinking on the 30K, so I'm going to put a 2 in the chat myself. And then let's see where the chat lines up.
Frankie, let me ask you this question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is there and let's just say you're a Bitcoin DCAer. You're DCAing no matter what. You believe in it long term. You're holding it. Is there a number, a price where you would say, screw the DCA, this is worth dumping more than 50% of my current dry powder in at this price? Is there a level that you got there? Is it the low? Is it 20K? What was there a level?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So for me, I'll actually, I just naturally always go back to the charts here. Hopefully you guys can see that, right?
Good.
Beautiful. So
went black
just
again.
Disappear.
Gary Gensler in the chat.
Huh. Gary Gensler trying to shut us down here.
That's messed up.
Interesting.
You can there we go.
Okay, beautiful.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, and now it's black.
It's here.
All right. Well, I'll pull up my camera and I'll just kind of look at the chart here myself.
Just talk us through what you're seeing. Kind of some levels.
Yeah. So basically, really, what I would do, I've basically been DCAing since about in June, right? Basically, we came down and we started. We hit a bottom here at about 17.8. That's where I said, hey, listen, even if we come down a little bit more, I think we endured a bunch of pain here. So I did think we could come lower, but I started slowly and lightly DCAing into Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And that's important to note. I was very Bitcoin and ETH heavy DCAing at this point, as I assumed that the alts would continue to bleed out pretty heavily. So I started DCAing in, and then we finally got the FTX collapse. We came down to about 15.6 or 15.7, depending on what exchange you're looking at. And I kind of upped my DCA a little bit, dollar amount, and DCA'd in a little bit more at the bottom there. And I've kind of halted on that big move to the upside. Once we flipped that FTX dump level at about 21.5 to support, that's kind of where I paused my DCA and said, listen, I think this thing's going to run. I'm going to call off the DCA bots. I'm going to pause them, let price run a little bit, and then I will turn them back on the way down. And once we break this range, I may start turning those DCA bots back on in case we get a bigger, kind of a bigger bleed out here. But I will tell you this: the kind of level where I'm thinking, hey, that's it. This is like I'm selling my kidneys. I'm dumping everything I got into crypto. It's probably going to be breaking the lows, really. Like if we break the lows and we come down to that 12 to 14K level, I am selling everything I own for more cash to dump into Bitcoin because, in my opinion, I really don't think we're going to see, even if lower lows do come in, which again I do think is the less likely situation here. I am feeling really good about starting my DCA in June. I feel really good about where I bought, but again, anything can happen. I think it's really important to really understand that no one knows 100% what's going to happen. And the market, once you start thinking you 100% know what's going to happen, the market will humble you. So, if we did break those lows and we came down to that 12 to 14K range, that is where I am absolutely dumping everything in. And then I know some people have super low targets like 8K. I personally don't see that happening, but if I dump in at 12K and we drop down to 8K, I'll just be trying to sell the last of my ownings, the things that I own, to try to pick up some more Bitcoin. But really, we break the lows, I'm heavily dumping in. We hit 14K. That's really that line in the sand where I'm just dumping everything I have.
Damn, so I'm a complete degen if my number is anything below 20.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, listen, I think if we do see lower prices below 12 and 14, like if we get below 12K, I think it's going to be a fast wick. I think it's going to be an absolute rip down, a snap right back up. And if you're not sitting at the computer at that time, it's going to be a hard thing to catch. And that's just my opinion, right? I'm fully aware I could be wrong, but yeah, I would say, lower lows come in. That's, I'm dumping my bags.
You hear that narrative all the time. It's like, hey, remember when we were at all-time highs, and even when we were on the way down, they're like, if Bitcoin gets down to 20K, he's like, I'm selling the house. And it's like, and then boom, it goes down to 16K, and everyone's like, nah, man, FTX, bro, I ain't buying nothing. I know. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to say that if Bitcoin got down to, say, sub 10,000, we would just sell everything in the studio and go back to webcam. But
are you willing to fulfill that?
But then again, I feel like that's just something that everybody says.
Let me ask you.
It is funny. Everybody talks all that trash, and then it dumps down, and they're like, "Oh no, this thing's going to zero. I'm not buying this."
Well, because their belief is not deep rooted in information. It's just those are usually the people that are just speculating. The average investor. It's like if you really understand and love crypto for what it is, yeah, we all want to make money, obviously. And even if it goes down to 5K, right? As long as nothing has changed with Bitcoin on the protocol level. Well,
there is
same thing.
A couple things that changed in the protocol level was the Taproot upgrade and the NFTs. So, did you get a chance to check out the NFT? So at Bitcoin Miami, there was a large NFT gallery or Ordinals gallery, and there's a presence of the wizard hats, which is kind of the community thing for
some of the maxis were just like I watched a video of Greg Foss on a Twitter Spaces, just like going off on those two dudes who were on stage in those wizard costumes. I think it was Eric Wall and UD something.
Isn't it good for the network to get more transactions? Yeah, it does slow it down, but here's the thing: like if you're claiming that Bitcoin's going to be as heavily used globally as people are projecting forward, I mean it's better to do this now while we're in the middle of a bear market and get acclimated, and how about we design some scaling solutions? Perhaps we do some layer twos that offer NFT services. For the viewers, I did have a couple of videos from this NFT Ordinals gallery. So I'm just going to kind of show this, and then obviously, a lot of these are physical versions of what we saw there as well. And then I got a couple more videos here. So Pepe was super popular out there.
Pepe started on Bitcoin?
Did it?
I believe so.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure it did. Someone in the chat, there's more DJs out there than me. Someone fact check me, but I believe Pepe was originally launched on Bitcoin.
I was going to say, I'm surprised they even let that in there.
I know.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Speaking of Pepe and Bitcoin, also I have this article here. So this was from 2021. So maybe this was before Pepe was even a thing on the blockchain. There was a frog-themed digital collectible, and this was an NFT of Dorian, who is the kind of that crazy guy that we call Satoshi in our memes, but they frogified him, and then this sold for $500,000. It was a one of one. Was not on the Bitcoin blockchain, of course. I think it was an ETH token, but kind of yeah. So so $500,000 at current price when it sold. So I don't know, kind of interesting.
Wow.
What do you think about all these?
They are saying Pepe was BRC20.
Yeah, so
the first Pepe meme coin.
Well,
that's wild.
Yeah, it wasn't the Pepe meme token, but it was more just a token. It was just an NFT, like a real NFT. What do you think about this whole Ordinals thing? Are you a fan of it? You appreciate it? You think it's just another medium for the art sector? What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm like not I'm here for it. I love it. I'm really not a huge, and everyone always asks me, in chat, people are always like, wow, Frankie's probably got like a bunch of really cool NFTs. And you know what? I'm not a big NFT guy. And really the only reason for it, it's not rooted in like, I don't believe in them or I think it's bad technology or anything like that. It's just mental shelf space, simply said. I'm a chart guy. I trade. Between just general crypto knowledge and all the trading and all the charts I keep an eye on, all the trades I monitor, I just don't have the mental shelf space to keep up with the NFT space as well and stay on top of all those communities and all the hype around what NFT is going to pop off. Luckily, I'm very close friends with DZ, who is very much on, and Taco as well, who are very much on top of all the NFT stuff. So, I'm here for it. I don't really have much of an opinion on it just because I'm not, a huge NFT person. And I get a lot of, people are like, how are you not into NFTs? But it's just simply, I'm so focused on other things that I just don't have the mental shelf space to keep up with it. I'd probably wind up in a bunch of bad projects, to be 100% honest with you. So, I just refer to DZ and Taco and Justin Williams from NFT Alpha for all my NFT Alpha.
There you go. There's only so much our brains can pack in as far as information, and until you get to the point where you start trying to learn about everything, and your expertise starts to diminish in what you're known for, which is your technical analysis. But you're more than just TA, Frankie, and that's why we like having you on the show, is because you can express your thoughts and kind of, walk us through. You did and I want to ask you about this. You did a Twitter thread about the whole Ledger situation, right? And I want to share this article with you here. Where did it go? Right here. So we're gonna swap over to my laptop here. So this is from CoinDesk. Crypto security firm Unciphered claims ability to physically hack the Trezor T wallet. This is on the back of the whole Ledger fiasco, where they said, "Hey, recover. We'll shard your seed phrase and send it out," and everyone started freaking out. And then Ledger had to walk back. Company of cybersecurity professionals who specialize in recovering lost or stolen crypto said they have found a way to hack into the popular Trezor T hardware wallet. The team did perform a laboratory demonstration and documented in a video that it was able to hack into a Trezor T wallet supplied by CoinDesk and successfully retrieve their seed phrase and PIN. Now, here's a little alarming here. Trezor told CoinDesk that its team didn't have enough details about the specific attack to respond, but noted that it looked like an RDP downgrade attack, which was publicly flagged as a risk 3 years ago. Trezor added that even with the above, Trezors can be protected by a strong passphrase. Frankie, a lot of people in our communities, yours, ours, just crypto in general, the whole ledger thing put a bad taste in their mouth. So what's the next one? Trezor. Now we have this. Is there one you've been looking at, and maybe what are your general thoughts on the whole ledger situation? Do you still trust them? And or is there a new one you've been looking at?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, God, if there was one thing that you would think would not, you got the exchanges going down and it's like, this is horrible, right? So it's really bad to see that happen in crypto, or it's a bad thing for the whole space. In my opinion, it's kind of, it's a really bad thing for the space, but it also, like with things like FTX, like you get bad actors out of the space. But for me, it's like, the exchanges go down and you're just like, man, this is bad. But hey, not your keys, not your crypto, right? This is, you can hammer home that point. Not your keys, not your crypto. Be safe, be safe. And I think the hardware wallets are always that thing that everyone goes back to when, I tried crypto and I got hacked. So, crypto's a scam. And then people are like, well, you need to use a hardware wallet. And people always go back to that hardware wallet argument to kind of protect the very, very secure, undefeated security of the blockchain and crypto and just hardware wallets in general. And now they're starting to show some cracks in the armor here. And with the whole ledger thing, I mean, it's horrible that the whole thing happened. And I know it's like, you had to opt into a certain thing to actually have that back door open. And for me, I think, I will say this. I talk about this on my live stream sometimes. I am not as, I'm a little bit more risky, right? I'm a trader, right? So I am moving my crypto around constantly. So I do have hardware wallets, but I probably should have more of my crypto on them than I do. But it's just the nature of, how I trade and just constantly moving money around between coins and stuff and exchanges and what have you, wallets. But I will say this, now this thing going on with Trezor, it's like, is this the next thing? Is this the next thing that's going to give us a big leg down in crypto potentially? One wallet that I really like is, and this is really just from a design aspect, is, Arculus. I don't know if you guys, they actually gave them away for free at Bitcoin Miami 2022. Yeah. And, Arculus is a very, very cool wallet. But yeah, I mean, just in general on this whole thing, I'm curious to see how this Trezor thing develops. Could be bad, man. It could be really bad. I mean, if a lot of people are scared to put it on the exchanges. We talk about this in the office a lot. You can't put it on an exchange. The exchange going down, right? You can't put it, you can't put it on your ledger, right? Because you got to be worried about the back doors. And when we originally started seeing the banks go down, I was talking to some people in the office and I'm like, all right, you can't hold cash. The banks aren't safe. The exchanges are going down. So where do you put your money, right? And you don't want to hold cash because it's just, it's just melting in the bank account. So, where do you put your money? And we all kind of looked around each other and we're like, hey, buy Bitcoin. Put it on a hardware wallet. And now they're starting to show, cracks in that armor. So, really, really interested to see this stuff develop. But, I would recommend checking out Arculus if anybody is looking for a new, a different company to get their hardware wallets from. There's no, there's hasn't been at least yet a problem with them. And I really like them. It's essentially just like a metal card, which is really cool. I like their design. Their security seems to be very, very good. But, as always, with exchanges, hot wallets can get hacked, right? And now we know that, the hardware wallets sometimes can have, things like backdoors or something like with what's happened with Ledger. And, just be careful. That's why for me, I am more focused on diversifying where my money is, not necessarily, I have some of my money on a hardware wallet. I have some of my crypto on hot wallets. I have some of my crypto on exchanges. And throughout all those different methods of storing crypto, I have my money spread within multiple of those categories, right? So multiple hardware wallets, multiple hot wallets, multiple exchanges. That way, if one thing goes down, I'm not going to get completely wrecked.
You know, also, this isn't the only time we've had a major hardware wallet be hacked. And so I have this gentleman named Joe Grand. He had hacked a Trezor and got all the Bitcoin off of there. And then shortly thereafter, he had so shortly after that, they had an update to the Trezor, and they're like, okay, the security issue's fixed. But he went in and hacked a Trezor. So one thing to keep in mind that nothing's foolproof, and you know, even if it is on a Trezor or a ledger, and you're like, okay, well, nobody can hack it. Well, give people enough time and their computer, and they'll get in there eventually. I believe it.
Here's the thing: that video that you were showing, they needed the physical Trezor. In this scenario, they didn't need the physical one. I think that's the issue there. Aru Basu, he says something funny. Will you scroll up, Rocco? He said, if no security, go for the one with the best UI. At least it'll look good while getting hacked.
There you go.
And we did have the one of the founders or one of the team members, one of the high-ranking team members from Arculus on our show. We actually gave away a few of the wallets here to our community as well. So big fan of Arculus. Yeah.
I personally haven't loaded any crypto on there. I just know compared to Ledger, as far as their support for tokens, it's not the same. Ledger, I mean, Ledger had the best of all of it. It's very unfortunate to see. They did walk it back. They are saying they're going open source, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do moving forward. If they can rebuild that trust. We talked about this with Cassius yesterday. I feel like they should have done a completely separate product, and he even brought up doing a completely separate company, but who knows? Frankie, we're going to go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, one more thing for anybody out there, either using a hardware wallet or looking more looking to buy a hardware wallet. Just make sure you're getting it from the actual website. Do not order your hardware wallet on something like Amazon. I have experience in that business. Anybody can be a seller on Amazon, and what they basically do, or what you could do, is if I were a seller on Amazon, which again, there's no barrier to entry, anybody can literally do this. I can buy 1,000 ledgers, have them shipped to my house, unwrap them all, right? Tamper with them, and then reheat shrink them, and then send those into Amazon, and Amazon will sell those for me. And now they have been, they're exposed, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting these from the actual company, not Amazon, because likely if you're getting it from Amazon, over 50% of all Amazon sales come from third-party sellers, like from regular people like you and me. So just be careful out there, because if you get one from Amazon, the chances are it probably went through some random person's hands, and God knows what they were doing with it before it got into your hands. So just be careful.
That's a great point, Frankie. And we've heard stories of people buying them on the secondary market like Amazon, and little do they know it's been tampered with. The seed phrase has been written down, and months later they go log in, they find out their crypto is gone. So always use the links in your favorite content creators channel. A lot of these people, we have one. I'm sure you have a few, Frankie, of hardware wallets or affiliate links. Those are links that go directly to the website. So use those, especially, and it helps you help support some of your favorite content creators as well. Frankie, you are one of our favorite content creators. You're a great guy. Thank you so much for joining us. We know you're a busy man. We had some issues with the charts and with the computer, but we'll get that fixed next time. But either way, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Anything you want to leave us with, and where can people find Frankie Candles if they want more?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on, guys. I love coming on the show. You guys are awesome. And it was great hanging out with you, Rob, in Miami. But yeah, you guys could check me out on my YouTube channel, just Frankie Candles on YouTube, Frankie_Candles on all socials. And yeah, I mean, listen, I'll leave you guys with this, with exchanges and now hardware wallets getting a little uncertain with their security, or just having these things happen. The only thing left to do at this point is just make sure you're diversified within those things. Don't keep all your money on just one exchange. Don't keep all your money just on one hardware wallet. And as far as price action goes, it's looking a little bearish right now. But again, 25.3 is that next major key level. I'm looking for some support between 25.3 and about $24,800. And yeah, thanks again for having me on, guys. You're awesome. Always a blast on the show.
Frankie, thank you, brother. We'll see you next time.
Take it easy.
Take care, bro.
Later.
Frankie.
What do you think? Yeah, 25, you know. It's,
25 is also a big psychological number as well.
yeah. I mean, we're not far off. What are we, 1,000? Like 100 off?
1,300.
Yeah, 1,200 away.
So there was some other big news happening in the crypto sphere, and that is in Hong Kong. Hong Kong approves select cryptos. Which tokens made the cut and why? So Hong Kong introduces new regulations for crypto trading, and only a select few made the cut. New regulations by the city's Securities and Futures Commission coming into effect on June 1st will permit retail investors to trade certain crypto tokens. So these are some of the rules and safeguards they have in place as to, okay, who can be listed, right? What tokens, what's the process they have to go through? What are some things they have to satisfy? Tokens must have a minimum of 12 months of regulatory compliance. In that period, there should be no criminal allegations against the projects in charge of these tokens. Also, the tokens have to be listed on at least 2 investable indices from major independent investment firms. The tokens that made the cut are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Polkadot, Bitcoin Cash, why? Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, Polygon, and Chainlink. So those are the tokens available for trade. The SFC currently has no plans to allow stablecoins, citing the ongoing uncertainty surrounding them. And then we had this from our friend Forrest as well. He did a little snippets. This is pretty cool. So 16 snippets, kind of breaking down the whole article into three segments. But Rob, what are your thoughts? We know Hong Kong is kind of starting to become the global hub for Bitcoin, or at least that's their goal. Do you agree with the process? I mean, does it make sense? You know, no criminal investigations for 12 months. They have to be listed on 2 indices. Is that like a practical way to look at it and say, okay, that makes sense?
Making more progress in the U.S. I don't understand how this didn't rally the markets a little bit more than... I didn't rally them at all, actually. Like, why? How did this not
rally them
the
the wrong way?
Yeah, you know, you had the China ban on Bitcoin mining, crypto, and Hong Kong is a province or territory, or they're under the control of China, the mainland. Now it is independent states, so they have different laws and regulations there than back in mainland China, but it is still part of China, which has been known to be negative on crypto as of lately. I think this is super bullish. I don't know why the market isn't moving. If you would have told me this last night and been like, hey, guess what's going to pop off tomorrow? I'd have been like, oh, that pops off. So is Bitcoin. But it did not. It did not. And surprised to see Cardano in there. I feel like Cardano's always kind of the last of the party when it comes to these things. You know, they take forever to get it listed on exchanges. They took forever to get listed on the Japanese exchanges. They weren't listed on Coinbase forever until like almost the tail end of the bull market back in 2021. So, I don't know, a little surprised. I do want to real quick though give a little shout out to the chat. We have a super chat from Crypto Grady. He says, "Love you guys. Pump for the next Crypto Gym." Oh yeah, awesome. Crypto Gym. That's also the show that
what he's talking about.
Yeah, the show that George and Leo are on.
I believe Ben was on there too.
Yeah. So Real quick, also, if you're new here, say hello so we can jump an hola back at you. We got a few new people. We have King Peasant, Anton J, Juan Carlo, and then we got Darren Does Things, Wolfman Ate My Crypto, Paul Rivera, Toe TV, Mars Solo, Symmetries, and Tony D. To all, and also the Doge Father himself as well. And so to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Doge Father said, AVAX, aren't you supposed to be shilling Doge? Interesting. You know, you mentioned China, which, by the way, Hong Kong and China are different, but people connected to. Well, China has been connecting to crypto. As China Central Television just broadcasted crypto, what could this mean? Now, why is this so important? Well, they denounced everything crypto just a few short months ago. China Central Television, and we also know, being a communist country, they control what websites you can visit, what goes on TV, and for crypto to be broadcasted on their national TV broadcaster, I mean, pretty big. I'm assuming, and we had a tweet from CZ as well. We'll go over that. But the broadcast might indicate the country's renewed interest in embracing the technology under a controlled environment with definitive regulations. CZ did tweet about this, said it's a big deal. The Chinese-speaking communities are buzzing. Historically, coverages like these led to bull runs. Not saying past predicts the future and not financial advice. Are you surprised, Robin? And do you think, are you as bullish on this as CZ is?
You know, I actually watched the video and expecting some subtitles, and there was none. So I was watching. But in spirit, I was enjoying it because I knew what the context of it was.
What?
I was serious. I was
How
trying
are
to
you
find
enjoying it when you couldn't understand anything?
because I knew the context. I knew what was being said, even though I didn't personally understand the language being spoken. That's how deep rooted I am in crypto. If I know it's bullish, even if it's in a language I don't understand, I will still take the time to watch it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All jokes aside, though.
I'm not joking. That's serious.
All seriousness aside.
Okay.
Are you surprised that it moved the markets? I mean, what does that tell you, right? You said you're surprised this Hong Kong news didn't move the markets. It actually went downwards.
I think it's all intertwined. I think that them coming out with, regulation or, Hong Kong lifting the ban on retail trading, and then followed by, China's main media embracing crypto, essentially. Hey, those two go hand in hand. And I swear I thought I would have seen the markets rally today, man. They did not. What's going on?
You think it's the macro?
I think it's that everyone's investing in meme coins right now. I think that's what it is.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I think the institutions aren't looking at it because institutions can't move fast enough. And so if you have companies or, you want exposure to crypto and you operate in Hong Kong or you have a branch in Hong Kong, you might be like, okay, cool, let's get it. But they're not going to all of a sudden FOMO within hours. And so the retail investor, I think, would have been where we would have seen that push up in volume. But I think the degens are so over the, underwater in these memes that they lost sight of the big narrative, right?
Or you think is people so focused on the U.S. debt ceiling and the macro?
That's crazy, man. I have here's a video or a tweet from Kevin McCarthy. President Biden has 8 days left to avoid becoming the first president in history to default on debt. Biden did come out and say in their last meeting afterwards that, there was progress being made. But, we've been kind of warned that, hey, this is going to go down to the wire, but there's a real possibility that both sides just don't come to the agreement and we get a taste of what defaulting on our debt looks like.
I can't.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying is it likely, but it's in the realm of possibility. And here's the thing, like, remember, the Republicans and the Democrats both have to agree on this. You know, that the House Majority Leader and the presidential candidate, they are different political parties. And in a cynical and evil kind of way, if the Republicans that hold the House, if they say, hey, you know what, we're going to let this thing happen, and we know that Democrats will lose office and re-election if this debt default happens. I mean, do you think it's out of the realm of possibility? Here's the thing. If this happens, if there's a default on debt, we can brainstorm the consequences, which is pretty harsh. You can agree that Democrats aren't going to get the president will lose the Democrats will lose seats, right? In the executive branch, the next Republican presidential candidate will take office, right?
Well, that'll be
if this were to happen, right? And so, is it that crazy to think, hey, maybe the Republicans will be like, you know what, you don't want to negotiate with us? We're not bending.
Yeah, but Robin, then if you let that happen,
I'm not saying it's smart,
but then the Republicans have to come in and deal with an absolute shitstorm, which I don't think anyone.
But here's the thing: what if you raise the debt ceiling 2 weeks afterwards, after the collapse, and you start repairing, Rob, and then by the time you go,
you can't.
I'm just saying that,
trust,
like, if you think that it's absolutely no possible way,
you got trillions of dollars.
We're 8 days away, and they are not at an agreement right now,
bro. You got trillions of dollars held overseas.
I understand what's at stake here, but the fact is that we're a week away, and that's all I'm saying, man. We're a week away, and these meetings are not looking good, man. And I know that's the narrative that people have been warning, like, hey, don't fall victim to this debt ceiling is going to collapse, like, but as you get closer, it becomes worrisome, man. Just saying, dude.
They're just posturing. They did the same thing in I believe it was 2011 or 2014. There's just, I can't fathom a scenario where the politicians like, yeah, we're just sorry.
Nothing surprises me. After what we saw with the pandemic in 2020,
catastrophic.
What happened in 2020 where they shut down the entire country for weeks on end. They shut down the hospitality sector for 6 months, pretty much, and they told you how many people you can have at the dinner table on Thanksgiving, and I am not in this. I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibility when it comes to politicians. Nothing. And I mean, we saw riots at the Capitol. Like, you don't think we'll see a default because two political parties can't agree, and one political party has a lot to gain if this were to happen as far as the presidential candidate? We're 1 year away from the presidential election. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think, and just to clarify, I don't think that we're going to default in debt. I'm not leaning that direction. But at the same time, I'm on the outside looking in like, time is ticking, man. We're getting closer, and it's a possibility. I'll leave it at that. You know what else is ticking closer is the Grit video game launched. So we're going to have Jason Brinkman from Gala Games on next week.
A bit bender.
Yeah, and so if you haven't seen Grit, so obviously you had the V2 on the Gala tokens, but Grit is live, and so when you go to their website, let's see here. First of all, yeah, live here. You can download this on Epic Game Browser and Steam as well. So not just for the crypto degens, but a playable game across the big, well-known platforms. So I'm excited. I need a new Battle Royale game. So.
You're done with Call of Duty? Oh, that's not.
Not done. No, not done. I still enjoy my Call of Duty, but you know what? A fresh change might be due. Why not?
What else is due is what's due is we have to mention our sponsor because we want to. Our sponsor, today's show is brought to you by Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you would like more information, visit bluewiretech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. We want to give a special shout out to Frankie Candles for joining us on our live show. Make sure to check out all of our social media. If you want to support the channel, there's plenty of ways to do so. And with that being said, Rocco. Guys, thank you. Come back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Love you all. Until tomorrow, enjoy the outro music, please.
Hey.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon then to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya. City.